For those of you who attended the previous session, sir, you were there as well. We talked a lot about technology and how technology is not just an enabler, but could be a delivery point or a distribution point for the businesses. But the kind of brands that are sitting here on stage, for them, the use of technology brings a new challenge, because some of these products are, their core definition is through the product itself. It doesn't go beyond that. Technology cannot change the product offering. It can only help in marketing or better intelligence. Plus, the real estate perspective as to what is changing. We have some contradictory ideas as well, which is always good. Contrarian ideas, rather. The topic is technology at the forefront of modern retail, building the embodiment of an uber-cool customer experience into your store. I will kickstart this discussion by bringing in Kabir first, because Kabir, Lumba, you manage a very successful retail brand and huge footfalls, huge physical touch and feel offering that you have. You feel that technology has limited use. Technology should not be pushed beyond a stage where the product offering itself gets lost or gets oblivious in the whole game. Please share your views to begin with.
Re-emphasize what you just said, Shivnath. Maybe my thinking is a bit old world, but I feel that while technology needs to be embraced and it's essential, it's critical, but it can't become at the forefront of the human experience. And the way I look at it is, I'll just start by giving a small sort of analogy. Just imagine that there's a street and there are 10 stores on that street. And 7 of them sell apparel and 3 of them sell footwear. And okay, let's make it 7 of them sell apparel, 2 of them sell footwear, and 1 store sells TVs. So what I see right now being proposed, being promoted is that, look, you don't stand a chance in hell unless you start bringing in all the glitzy lights, unless you start bringing in the LEDs into your stores. So what will start happening is that most of the apparel and footwear stores are going to start showcasing LEDs. And very soon, the store which is actually selling TVs is going to feel so left out and undifferentiated that I think it'll start bringing in apparel and footwear to make it look nice and warm. So my belief is that whenever there's an idea, I think it needs to be adopted, but we need to be careful, because eventually that idea will get commoditized. Just like any innovation, there's a certain shelf life. Just like fashion has a certain shelf life, even technology will have a certain shelf life. And I see technology as a replacement of certain basics like standees. So they're just replacing the functional. They're making an experience just more contemporized, just more updated. But there's no way in hell it's going to be a replacement for the product which will remain the hero.
But Kabir, just to challenge your thinking there, why would a brand like Apple, for example, bring the e-wallet? There are facets to technology which can make that in-store experience also very cool and very tech-heavy. It doesn't need to be about LED screens, but it could be about the moment I walk in, my customer profile matches with your database, and it starts directing me to the aisles where I think I need to be going. There are different aspects of technology which makes that, as the note said, the uber cool experience. Do you think brands like yours need to probably think of technology in that sense and not just display part of it, more about intelligence and forcing somebody to shop?
That part I completely accept and agree with. See, as I said, the technology's importance cannot be undermined, so I don't want to be misunderstood here. So technology has to be sort of woven into the human experience, but it can't become the other way around, that the human needs are sort of woven into a technology universe. So I think selectively, I mean, the iPhone part is one example where actually people started using more smartphones because of the iPhone. But what we also have to keep in mind, many smartphone companies actually shut down because of the iPhone. So it's not that the overall usage of the smartphone really increased, it moved from one brand to the other. When it comes to the watch, I still have to wait, because most of the time whenever I make any predictions about the future, I'm wrong. But I feel that it'll be a while before Apple sort of takes over the watch industry and shuts the Swiss luxury watch industry down. But after 2 years, one can revisit what I'm saying, because I don't want to be like the BlackBerry CEO who said in 2007 that it doesn't matter, iPhone is just another smartphone. Maybe I'm saying the same thing now, but in 2 years' time, if I'm wrong, we'll be quick to change.
At least Kabir is willing to stick his neck out. It's a good point to bring in another retail brand, which is Titan. Although, Sandeep, you represent the jewelry division. Probably you could wear your 10% hat of the brand and then also talk about jewelry. Technology and jewelry, well, difficult to tango, because women love to see themselves in the mirror. As much of a virtual wall I show them, they will want to do the real thing. So the question is, for a brand like yours, you cannot stay away from it though, because everybody's also spending online. There was a lady in the previous session is she still here? Or she spends 4 days a week online. And she felt that nobody is offering her that experience in that online space where she is captively held for those 4 days. And that was a challenge to the brand. How do you make her experience pretty cool? From your point of view, where does technology play a bigger role? Just intelligence or in-store experience as well?
Just to make an opening point that, Indian consumers by far are very different consumers than anywhere in the world. See, they're very inclusive people. Retailing in India is very community kind of an activity, where you want to be around people, you want to, share with people. Therefore, that is one piece. The other in jewelry is even more traditional from a perspective of physical retail. And if you look at the way jewelry industry is evolved, it's largely the 35 to 50 who buy jewelry, and that too physical. The way we have used technology is to connect or have a conversation with them, with the physical customer, through personalized offers, communication, and using their history of purchases to connect with the brand and make them buy on various occasions. Whereas for the younger audience, which is right now not in the jewelry space, we've done a lot more. For example, the Mia brand we've launched, we've used a lot of technology. We've used co-creating of designs, a second All India contest on Facebook, Twitter, that to keep the younger audience interested in the category and then take it. So if you see technology deployment in jewelry division is far more in the younger audience with the Mia brand, but less of it in the serious jewelry buying, where the age group is not very technology conducive from the jewelry buying process. Therefore, what we are doing is we're trying to do what has been said about in the VM space. But like Kabir said, it's the physical retail, the product is a hero, the jewelry is a hero. I can't distract the customer by any gimmickry, gadgetry. Therefore, if you see, we don't have any out-of-home exposure like screens running around showcasing various product designs in the store, because you're distracting the customer from the purpose which is coming to the store. And even the watch business, we believe that personal interaction, and Indian consumers want reassurances. They want that, when you buy something, somebody says, listen, you made a right choice, it'll look nice on you, it'll go with the outfit. That is the Indian consumer psyche. Therefore, the younger audiences, if you look at the consumption of online purchase, all below 25 years of age. It is not 35 and 40, 75% is below 30 age group online buying. And we are online right now on e-commerce, but they are early stages, we're developing it. But it's still to keep abreast as a communication tool, to improve the quality of communication, showcase product even better, make it look very juicy in terms of look and feel, so they can come to the store and buy. So I still believe it's an early stage for the category like jewelry, which is far more traditional. But I agree with Kabir that it's an enabler. It'll never take the first step forward and replace the product by any chance. And therefore, the romance of the product, the look of the product, the personality of the product, the look and feel on you is going to be a very important aspect, especially in lifestyle categories like watches and jewelry. And therefore, we still don't see, like you mentioned about iPhone, it's a techie product. It finally becomes an extension of a mobile phone. The Apple going into watch is not replace watches, but I think it's extending the mobile hardware into a physical wrist process. But the lifestyle, the styling of a watch will still remain, and we've done enough consumer understanding to say that customers still believe watches has a role to play, especially for men.
I'm almost ready to throw a challenge that I will want to meet all of you 2 years hence and see where we are. I mean, whether my gut is right, because, well, I can easily say it, I'm not into retail, but the fact is that I still feel that technology can do some wonders in your businesses, but that's a different offering which Sandeep brings as well. Sandeep Ahuja represents VLCC in the wellness space. Is that the right word to use? You're in the wellness space. Technology goes only that far. Eventually, it's about doing the stuff yourself. You cannot make a technology run for me. I mean, I'll have to run on a treadmill if I want to get there, but VLCC goes beyond that. What's been your experience in using technology from in-store, in your spa, in your wellness center, plus marrying that with customer intelligence as well.
Where actually you are uncool because, well, you've got so much of technology.
Interesting. James, you have a point to make on that?
Yes, I've got a very similar experience in terms of restaurants. Maybe we like the same places, but I was in a restaurant in Mumbai a couple of days ago, and we ordered via iPads. There were 6 of us, but we only had 2 iPads, so that was the first problem. And when you pick the items, they're meant to go straight to the kitchen, but we worked out it doesn't work that way. You have to look at the iPad, then order from the waiter, so we ended up ordering our drinks 3 times sometimes, before it came once. But I think technology is a big trend now, but to every trend, there's a counter trend. And while most companies, most retailers are really just getting into technology and experimenting with it, some retailers are finding, as you said, that their customer actually experiences technology all day long. They're looking at a screen sometimes for 5 or 6 hours a day. Every time they dip into their pocket, there's a screen there. There's nothing special about a flat screen anymore. 10 years ago, maybe they were special. Now they're simply not special. Sorry.
You could say sorry to me as well because I'm in the other camp.
Some luxury brands now are removing flat screens from their store because their customers see too many flat screens. So luxury brands no longer want these catwalk shows on flat screens. What their experience is about is person-to-person communication. Their well-trained staff will communicate to you what the latest thing is that's happening.
Well, Gilles, verify that. I mean, is that the way L'Occitane wants to behave? Because I don't recollect seeing too many LED screens in your store ever, though.
No, I don't. Because again, I don't think it goes with the brand, I think I agree a bit with what he's saying. Today it's all about flat screen. 20 years ago, it was just the beginning of the flat screen. Actually, I think the luxury brands were the first to get the flat screen sold because it was too expensive. So a normal fashion brand couldn't afford it, because you have to look at your capex. And but no, it's so cheap that all the brands go, and then the way you innovate it now is to actually remove it. So it's a cycle. At the end of the day, all store concepts evaluate, and at L'Occitane as well, our stores normally change every 5 years. I don't see why today we should have technology in our store. It doesn't go with the brand, to me. I'm not the one who's in charge with the store concept, so I'm just here to apply it. But if you tell me to do it, I'll do it, but I don't think it will come. For what I've seen, it's not coming. Maybe one LED, but again, yes, tablet to interact with the customer, to help the BAs to interact. For sure, that's very important, and that will certainly after that stay.
Chetan has a lot of potential customers here. Quickly, before I try and take a couple of questions, Sandeep, from a VLCC perspective, a great business offering could be technology de-addiction offering that VLCC could offer. We already hear internet de-addiction centers opening up in Delhi. Maybe you could offer a tech de-addiction service from VLCC's side, because that will take off your tech toxification.
Well, we use technology to enhance the customer experience, as I said earlier, but we're also using technology at the back end. For example, we now use DNA as a starting point for customizing a weight management program. But all that aside, I just wanted to just take this opportunity to add another thing. I've been hearing everybody talk. One of the things that maybe we should keep into the equation is that technology has always been used in some form or the other to stand out from the clutter. It is all a competitive environment in the marketplace on the high street. So what do you do? At 25, 30, 40 years ago, we used to use the neon signs as a footfall driver into the outlets. Today we're using LED screens possibly to do that. So the relevance is very much there for technology, But I think that relevance today is more from the point of view of enhancing the customer experience to interact with the brand rather than the product itself. Like the presentation Samsung made earlier, while within the outlet they were showcasing their cars using technology, yet there was a physical car there, and irrespective of how much of the coolness of that outlet would be, the person will still want to open the door of the car and sit and see, whether his legs fit into the back space. So I don't think use of technology can be undermined. It certainly over the years has enhanced customer experience to drive footfall, but whether that's the only reason that footfalls happen, not so sure.
All right, interesting. Anyone has a tech-led question or tech-less questions? Anyone? Because we'll then end up wrapping by asking Chetan one last question that I have. Any questions from the panel? Yes, sir. Can you come to the mic?
Hi, my name is Piyush Agarwal, and we are developers from Delhi. My question is to Kabir, and I believe my question might not be straight online, but related to technology. That nowadays we see so many online shopping websites, right? Maybe eBay, maybe Flipkart. So would this affect the lifestyle stores or the big retail stores? And has that given any impact as of now and future? What sort of impact do we see that these websites could give to us, to the stores rather?
Yeah, the whole online game, because we didn't want to bring it here because it was about the customer experience, but go ahead.
I'll keep it short, Shivnath. In fact, the kind of growth that we've had for the last 18 months, I wish the online companies actually came into this country earlier. Because we never saw those kind of growths till they came in. My analogy is this, that the tree starts telling the seed, I'm greater than you. The reason why online exists is because you have cool brands. How did those cool brands get created? Right? So it's just a form of distribution. At the end of the day, it's not going to drastically increase the consumption basket because finally your income will determine how much you buy. You may buy some offline, some online. I'm not trying to say that people will not buy online. But to start believing that it's going to be a complete replacement right now, I feel it's a bit too early. And just one point on some facts. If I just take the fashion category, I have to stick to some categories, otherwise this conversation can become very, very general. And I'm not talking about services here, I'm talking about products. The market for apparel is about 1,75,000 crores. If you look at the total share of organized offline players, it's about 12 to 15,000 crores. There's still about 160,000 crores to actually service. So there's a long way to go before it becomes an either-or story. But I just want to end off by saying that, the online guys look for cool brands. Cool brands coincidentally get created through brick and mortar stores. When actually online brands can get created through online, that's the time when brick and mortar has to worry.
Chetan, just to end that, but that's beginning to happen. It's not beginning to happen, is it beginning? I think it's beginning to happen. Yeah, so go ahead. Could you just close the session by giving your final comments?
I think
it's on.
I think online is something which is, which is...
It's a whole new subject, so we're not getting into that.
Yeah, it's a whole new subject. I think I think all of you would be exposed for last 2 years, 2 days also. I think it's a never-ending discussion, right? Online and the shopping. But what I would like to concentrate on is that let's concentrate on what we have right now, right? The store which is there to sell out, okay? And how we can increase the user experience and not bother about the online. Online would do their work as and when it wants to, right? So that's what I would like to
All right, we'll end on that. You have a question?
Yes.
Quickly, because we are running out of time.
Okay, thank you very much. Good discussion here. But as a consumer, if I look at here, most of these discussions are around marketing and selling of the product or service to a consumer. But customer experience is not limited to just buying it, actually. Once you own the product or service, how I been supported by the brand, and what is my experience while using the product. I have been taught about the product. So what is that you see as a future customer experience after buying the product or service.
Who are you addressing it to? Who do you want?
I mean, any one of them can take it up.
That's too generic a question for. Could you just repeat your question again?
So, customer
Slowly.
experience, what you're talking about here is more of a marketing and selling of the product or service to the customer. But as a consumer or a customer, the product experience after buying it, service experience after subscribing it is extremely important. It could be, how I use the product, how I've been supported on buying the product later, and also how I use the product and then how I've been taught about using the product. So that is what we really as a consumer, we see as a product life experience. So what is that when you see as in a future?
In simple terms, after sales service, if you want to get after sales feedback. Sandeep, you go ahead. You want to have a go at it?
No, I can take this in the context of the watch business and the jewelry business. If you look at the physical watch stores, have all been supported by an organized watch care center. And if you look at the number of watches that we handle post-purchase, we have actually as many we sell in a year that many watches come for servicing. So therefore, is a philosophy in this country, especially in Indian market, where there is still lots of loyalty, not only for the product purchase, but also occasional purchases. So if you see watches given on my wedding, on my engagement, have a lot of emotional value. And same with jewelry. We have a service center in every jewelry store where you can come back, clean it, get it polished, get it modified, get it mended. So I think you got a very valid point. And again, I come to that point of Indianness, that Indian consumers don't very easily throw away their assets. And especially jewelry, obviously you cannot. But even watches, they would like to see how long can you use it. That's why if you see the replacement sale of watches is still very small. I mean, multiple purchase of watches is a very small portion of the business. There's still a lot of consumption, a lot of penetration still to happen in the watch business, but jewelry is far more penetrated. But still, they would like to make it new, the jewelry used for next year, for daughter's wedding, they need to polish it, clean it. And I think completely agree with you that physical support of the product after purchase is equally important to build the brand and therefore keep the continuity alive, which typically the online, you can do it through offline, but online will have that problem. But young audiences surely, but even look at youngsters, they still don't throw it away. I mean, they'll still find use for it to give it to somebody, but there is an important aspect of post-sales, which I think is very important for Indian consumers.
I think one space which is doing that pretty well is the automobile industry. I think the whole feedback system, the kind of service offerings and stuff like that. I'll just end on one note, but Kabir, thanks for pointing that out. Eventually, the brands are being built offline, and I'm sure everybody has seen Wall Street, and there was one line which Martin Sheen tells Charlie Sheen at the end of it, try making money not by other people's money, but by making something. But on that note, thank you all for joining us. A round of applause for the panelists. I know everybody's heading out for lunch, but thank you all for being with us on the panel.